Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from AnthonysCustoms, and for this review, we are looking at the SH Figuarts Kinnikuman NEMESIS figure, which is one that I noticed, I saw it a long time ago when they first announced it, and then I kind of just forgot about it altogether. But this is a really unique character design, and they executed it particularly well, and it's probably not going to appeal to everybody because it is, like I said, very unique. But it's a really cool design, I think, so I'm happy to show it to you guys, and hopefully you guys are interested in it, because I think you might like it by the time we're done with this review. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just under 16 centimeters, which makes him just about 6¼ inches. If you count his little fin thing, that's about what he is. And just like all the other Kinnikuman figures, I really like the finish on the paintwork. He's almost all matte or flat, except for the metallic parts and the glossy parts, which means it's got a really nice composition and it just looks great. Even if you don't like teal characters, you might like this one just because of the nice shading and flat colors for the paint and wraps and outfit. Like they're shading throughout the brown, the teal, no shading down here on the boots, but it just looks really good. Definitely could use a little bit of shading on the wraps, and it could be a little bit of a cleaner paint job down here around the thighs. But all in all, it's very, very clean. If you look at the face in particular, they did a really good job painting that. And then this part's painted nicely. I thought for a minute that these were actually separate pieces glued on, but I'm pretty sure they're just painted. But you have the glossy red up against the metallic gunmetal, and then it just looks so nice. I love the way they finish these guys off. It looks really good. And then the sculpt is just very nice also. It's very organic looking. I love the way they sculpt the abdominal section and the hips and thighs and everything. It just looks really, really good. So let's talk about the accessories before we get into the figure anymore. We have 3 total heads. The one standard head that comes on him in the package with the mouth closed. One of the same head with him yelling and the mouth is open. And then one where he's got a different type of mask on, kind of like a Mortal Kombat Ninja style mask, which is not really Mortal Kombat Ninja, but that's what most people associate it with. But it looks really cool. Then we have the 2 fist hands that come on him in the package, 2 open gripping hands with the hinge at the main knuckle, and then we have 1 pointing finger hand. Not the most accessories in the world, but I think it's okay because it's a pretty cool figure on its own. As far as the articulation goes, head is on a double ball peg, neck is on a ball peg. Functions well enough given the fact that he's got this thing coming down the back here, which does limit the head some. And he's got these pieces that go over the traps right here, and he's got the mask, so it is limited to a degree, but it works well enough. It's worth noting that these are separate pieces, these pinkish red pieces on the head. They're not just painted on. I mean, it's not one mold with paint. They're actually separate, so it's a completely clean paint job as far as those are concerned. But it does get in the way a little bit. And the way they designed the neck that moves around in there, it does create kind of a weird look. I think they needed a little bit more material in there to hide that gap a little bit. He has his standard butterfly joint that we've seen in pretty much, I think all of the Kinnikuman figures have that. Then we have the ball peg where that connects into the butterfly joint and the standard ball hinge for the shoulder. So full range for the arm. You're not going to have any issues with the arm at all. You do have your bicep swivel built into that shoulder joint, which works pretty well, surprisingly well. Then you have your double hinged elbow and the extra rotation in that elbow, so you really shouldn't have any issues posing this guy. You have your ball hinge for the wrist, which works very nicely, and again, it's nice and thick so that it doesn't look like a weird wrist articulation. It looks pretty good. For the torso, we have I'm still not sure if it's a double ball peg or a ball peg and a hinge, but the upper torso moves around very nicely. The instructions warn you to be careful that this metallic paint could scratch off because of all of this sharp edging down here. So be aware of that, or it could scratch in the back. So just be careful. But you do get pretty good range going forward and back. It's not as good side to side, but it does work. So that's good. And you can rotate it around very well. And then the lower torso has a ball peg, which allows it to move around pretty nicely. This is a floating piece, so it'll kind of just wiggle around as you pose him. And it works very nicely. Lower torso could be a little bit more dynamic, but the upper torso works pretty well, so I'm okay with that. For the hips, we have the hinged ball pegs, which allow you to drop them down and, of course, put them back up to look better. But even when they're up, they have pretty good range, and if you drop them down, you get just a little bit more. You can almost do the splits. You can definitely bring the leg around this way, and because it has a ball peg going down here instead of just a swivel, it does give you a little bit of extra range, and, of course, the swivel. So really nice range for the legs. You can bring them forward. Probably not as far as some people would like, but it is about 90, so I think that's okay. For the knees, you have a double jointed knee, which works very nicely. It does have a rotation in it, it just doesn't work very well. That's pretty much the case for all of these guys, so it's a little bit of a bummer. Not the best looking knee in the world, the way they have the sharp edges, but it does look good for most poses, so I think that's okay. For the ankle, we have the hinge that goes all the way back. It goes not so far forward, but probably forward enough. And then, of course, you have your ankle rocker. So it's a really solid figure. Most of these Kinnikuman figures are really nice, and this one is no different. It looks great, it's very unique, and it functions well, so there's really not too much more you can ask for. So I have to recommend it. There you go, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up every single day. We talk about action figures, movies, TV shows, video games, all kinds of fun stuff, so turn on notifications so you don't miss any of that. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and in the meantime, keep collecting.